Hey guys, Andy Prepper here. A few final thoughts about other options for 22s for low cost. Now a lot of you are recoiling and saying, why isn't he going on? Why isn't he talking about more low cost firearms? Why not the Ruger 1022? Well, this little series is on low cost, basic prepping stuff. I would say the Ruger 1022 at about 200 to 250 bucks or more depending on the variants, but I'd say the basic one's around 200 bucks. I'd say that is a standard cost 22. I think the Ruger 1022 is probably, overall, probably the best 22 out there. The 1022, great gun, very reliable, lots of options, lots of accessories, wonderful, wonderful stuff you can do with the 1022. But it's not low cost. You say it's only 200 bucks. You're right, that's not a lot of money if that's your argument. But I'd say that's standard. I'd say the standard 22 out there is going to run you 200 to 250 bucks. So I wouldn't say that's low cost relative to these two. This one's 100, this one's maybe 125, depending on shopping around where you buy them. So this series is going to be about cheaper firearms, overall, relative to the standards. Your standard handgun may run you $400, and that's great. That's not what I'm reviewing in this series. I'm going for something cheaper. Somebody doesn't have the standard amount of money to buy what they need to buy. Nothing wrong with a $400 handgun. Great stuff, got lots of them. Is that low cost? Well, it depends on how much cash you got. What is low cost for a handgun? $200, $250. So, just to keep things in perspective, I've talked about our break action single shot 22 and our semi-auto, which could also include a bolt action. There are plenty of other cheap firearms out there, especially low-cost ones. Other low-cost ones. Remington makes one that looks almost identical to this one right here. That may be the same gun. I don't know. The magazines are listed under different purchase items, so they may be different, but I've handled them, and they seem almost identical. Little cricket rifles, little small little single-shot 22s for kid practice. Those are great little rifles. There's nothing wrong with them. I like them. I don't own one because I don't have small children. If I had a small child I was teaching to shoot, I'd have one of those little cricket rifles. I may get one anyway, just to have one, but I'm not going to use that as my primary. It's too small. It's too short. It doesn't fit my shoulder. That's not an adult-sized gun. This is about as small as I want, and sometimes I think that one may be a little too small. The Rossi Max Perry youth version. But there's a lot of other options out there. Like I said, Savage has got some 22s out there that are great. Heard a lot of great things about. Don't own one of those, so I'm not going to cover that. In the 22 world, there's lots of other options. Lots and lots of them. The Henry Golden Boy, lever action, little cowboy gun. Great little gun. Pretty nice, but it's nowhere in the cost range of these two. I believe those run you about 300 if memory serves, 250, something like that. I can't recall. Again, plenty of other stuff out there. I'm not talking about those. CZ. I want a CZ bolt-action 22 rifle. I really do. Can't remember the model numbers on them. I want one of those. I think it's a classy little gun. I like CZ. I'm going to get one of those at some point, but I don't consider that a low-cost option at, what are they, 400 bucks, 350, something like that. 350 is not a lot of money compared to a lot of things, but compared to the world of 22s, I think it is. The Marlin Model 60. I really wish I had one of those to compare. Marlin Model 60 was my very first firearm ever. Sadly, I don't have that anymore. Maybe I'll get it back someday, but probably not. That's another story. That one's a tube-fed one. Nothing wrong with a tube-fed 22, but I'd rather have a detachable magazine, personally, because those tubes are going to be harder to reload in a pinch if you need them. I'd rather drop the mag on this one and pop another one in. It's just more practical. There's nothing wrong with a tube-fed 22. Love them. Great. Wonderful stuff. If that's all you got, you're good to go. You're going to be fine. If I had to pick, though, I'd pick something like that. Semi-auto. People asked about bolt-action 22s. Bolt-actions are great, too. Again, they teach you conservation of your ammo. Make sure you know what you're going to hit. Make sure you're going to hit your target. That's the way I learned very, very early. I didn't load my whole Marlin Model 60 up. My grandfather wouldn't allow it. One round. You hit one round, hit your target. Make sure you're going to hit your target. Don't just randomly pull the trigger so that you can pull it again. You don't have lots of ammo so you can shoot a lot. You have lots of ammo so that if your first shot, for whatever reason, doesn't hit like it's supposed to, you can follow up. You got a follow-up shot. You hit a rabbit, you thought you had a clean shot and the wind blew or whatever, the rabbit moved and you wound the thing. Do I want to be reloading my 22 single shot? Yeah, if I had to, that's what I would do. But what's the most humane thing? What's the cleanest thing? Aim and fire again. Finish it off. So, Semi-autos, you know, a little different philosophy than your single shots, in my opinion. And I think they're a little more practical overall, in my opinion. There's nothing wrong with this one here, the single shot or the bolt action. I'm not going to badmouth those. Like I just said, I want one of those CZ bolt action 22s. Again, we're talking low-cost options here. You're going to see that through the rest of this series. There's going to be a lot of things I neglect, a lot of things I don't talk about, primarily because I don't have them. One thing that I don't have yet and would love to do a review on, and certainly intend to pick up at some point, is that Henry Survival Rifle. It's a semi-automatic rifle, ultra lightweight, whole thing folds down, and it folds down, it pulls apart, and the entire rifle stacks and compresses and stores inside the buttstock. The buttstock, with everything in it, with 2 magazines included, will float. That's great. That is wonderful for a survival rifle. Small, ultra compact. Can't think of a 22 rifle that's going to compact something smaller than that Henry Survival Rifle. I don't have one yet. And the price range on them, last time I looked at them, was somewhere around $250, give or take. Again, with that Ruger 1022 as our standard, what I'd say a standard price point, maybe you disagree. That's not going to be a low-cost option. Is it a great option for prepping? Yes, I think it is. It's tremendous. Love them. Handled a bunch of those rifles over the years and just, for whatever reason, just never got around for dropping the cash on one. Now I got a little more cash on hand. Will I buy one the next time I see one? Sure, and I'll give you guys a review. But again, for low-cost options, I think it's somewhere in this realm right here, like we've talked about. You keep things cheap. Again, that's the purpose of this series. I got a lot of other 22s for survival I'll talk about in the future, but not in this realm, okay? My little $200 CMMG conversion kit for my ARs is tremendous if you own an AR. Love that. But that's $200 for the conversion kit. I got to spend $600 or $700 on the rifle first and then get the conversion kit. Is that low cost? Well, relative to some ARs. We may talk about that, but at some point. But for our basic 22s, this is what we need. Again, would I prefer a 1022 to this Mossberg Plinkster? Yeah, I would. And I do. I like that Ruger 1022 better. But again, I'm not talking low cost in that scenario. That's what I'd say standard. So I rambled on enough about that. So these are what we're going to talk about and leave as 2 of our options. We've already talked about 22s and low cost for prepping. I will probably at some point be doing low cost prepping ammo series at some point. And then I think about the guns. I need to talk about the ammo in them and keeping things reasonable. I'll do that at some point. So here we are, end of our 22s. Again, welcome all your comments. I'll be happy to talk about other 22s at some point. I believe next we'll be moving on to shotguns. Andy Prepper, out.